12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey all, this is Ryan Monso, and this is Cats, the Cougar Afterthought Show. Brought to you by the number 0. Salute to 0, Brad. Just like the mob did. That's back-to-back shutouts for U of H.
Oh. Okay, it's time to wake up. Never mind.
Okay, I thought you were dead. I thought you were done. Oh, it was over.
Yeah, wow. I just was sitting here I'm glad they put me to sleep.
Back-to-back shutouts. U of H hadn't been shut out in 23 years. Now 3 times in 10 games. It's hard to believe that I've sat through every minute of all 3. It's been 127 minutes and 10 seconds since U of H last scored. It was the Donovan Smith, the 37-yarder. That was the last time they scored. And that was not a great game. Donovan Smith should take all the heat. This was bad. I hate the way Willie used the 2 quarterbacks. One drive and then the other guy and then the other guy. I hate that. I think that is the dumbest thing. If you believe in rhythm in sports, if you believe in anything, you can't do that to the guys. Brad, first thoughts. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Good to be back, at least, especially on this side of the earth. The defense was phenomenal. It's no longer a how many teams have to have bad weeks in a row before we can recognize that maybe this defense is playing their ass off and they're the reason why these guys are having bad weeks. I think I don't think Iowa State is any kind of offensive juggernaut or anything, but I think they're a solid quality team. And they've got a much bigger offensive line than our defensive line. But this defensive line played their ass off. They were unbelievable up front. And I think Strong made the play of the year.
On the pass pro, that was unbelievable.
I mean, they showed the replay of it.
And I looked up and I was like, what defensive back is 90?
Well, you see that play all the time, and you see that backside receiver get open nearly every single time. Mm-hmm. He stuck to his assignment and stayed with it and made the play. That was phenomenal. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see out of your players is guys who are going to do their job. Nothing else. Don't try to do anybody else's job. Do your job. And if it means following that guy no matter what, follow that guy no matter what. And you know what? You made the play.
Martin.
How's it going? Yeah, I mean, the quarterback usage was putrid. It was predictable. I mean, it was obvious that they want Zion to run, and they were going to try some sort of passing with Donovan. And, I mean, you could see the defense. I mean, they were 3 down front for the most part, but they were kind of just, like, standing up and waiting for when Zion was in the game for, like, a quarterback run or something. They weren't really respecting the idea that he was going to pass the ball because that's not what was being called. And then, not that things are much better with Donovan, but At least for me, fans are calling for a different quarterback. Well, I think you saw the best of these two quarterbacks, and Donovan is still the better option, unfortunately. Like, I'm going to stay. I'd pound the table for that if that decision needed to be made. I think Zion's an incredible runner. Like, he showed the ability that he has with the ball in his hands, but they don't even call pass plays. To me, it's they're telling us how they feel about Zion by not calling plays for him to throw the ball. At the end of the game, yeah, he had opportunities, but because he had to, it was 4th and 16 or whatever that play was.
Mm-hmm.
So he threw it downfield and it got intercepted. I mean,
he was so late on that.
Yeah, I mean, the coaching staff is telling you how they feel about these two players, and one of them they think is very one-dimensional, and the other one they're willing to open up their offense to what expanse we've seen. Maybe that's the peak of it. It's just offense is not fun this year.
No.
Fun is not a word to be used. Speaking of fun, Star Pizza. Lunch specials every day this week. The good news for you, fan, is you don't have to watch this at home for a month. The bad news is that you have to watch this before you get to see basketball. You'll see basketball the next day. But between now and then, Star Pizza. None of you are going to Fort Worth. Why would you? I am. Star Pizza. Go have a lunch special on Tuesday or Friday. Specials all week. Get drunk. Have a good time. Try the dessert and the pasta. Right, Brad?
Absolutely. Or even better right now. For me, I'm gonna mix in a couple of salads.
So Brad had a little bit of an issue this week. May have gone to the hospital. May have gone to the hospital again. And that's why we did not do the show on Sunday night because homeboy was trying to die.
Nah, I was good.
Failed. He was obviously a U of H offensive player.
Yes.
Did not succeed. But we're glad to have him back. And apparently he's quit caffeine. So we'll see how that goes. If I get yelled at,
I have.
Then we'll see.
Sitting there waiting to see the doctors, I couldn't have any caffeine because my blood pressure was through the roof. And so going through a couple of days with no caffeine, you get through all the headaches and then, hey, you're good to go. You just got to be tired for a little while and then, we'll make up for it.
Did you say you get through all the headaches?
Here's what you were talking about, partner. Here, there's Malik Carr, number 6, right? He's going to release, detaches as an unbalanced look. And here's Trayvon Howard, number 25, covering him, and he just walks right past him, man. Quarterback never sees him.
Even if Malik Carr is not running wide ass open, the biggest man on the entire field running wide open in the middle of the field, even if he wasn't there, that was a terrible throw by Smith. You cannot miss that throw where he missed it. And that's the most indefensible thing we saw tonight. And there was a lot of indefensible.
But see, if we don't have the benefit of the all 22 angle, but if you did
you need it?
I guarantee you on at least half the pass plays, you're going to see guys running free.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what it is, and it happens for a number of reasons. One, because a lot of times you just don't have the time. Two, I think it's over reliance on your first read and then kind of panicking and expecting to see that rush, because then all of a sudden your eyes go down to the line and you're not seeing what's up above you. But whatever it is, I mean, I don't know where we go from here. What do we do?
Fort Worth.
Well, I mean, I know where the games go from.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, at this point, we don't have a quarterback on the roster. Apparently, I mean, if this is the best we got, then we don't have a quarterback on the roster.
You have one, but he has a torn ACL, and I mean, he would be the third stringer, but he would be the option.
We got another freshman coming next year.
Yeah. And he'll need time.
Yeah.
But it's not pretty. The thing that I am focused on are the penalties.
Yeah.
Willie Fritz came in preaching the Cougs don't beat the Cougs, and that's all they do. 3rd and 7 on offense, chop block. 3rd and 9, illegal block in the back. 2nd and 9, a hold. 3rd and 5, when you fumble the ball, you get an offensive unnecessary roughness. And on the flip side, roughing the passer on 2nd and 8, which would have been, I think it would have been like a 3rd and 2 or something. A holding on the special teams on the line, I believe. That's the second time that's been called in the last 3 games. That's unbelievable that is, number one, being called, and number two, that you're doing it. And then you had a block in the back on another kickoff, the one where Massey lets the ball hit the ground and panics and doesn't know what he's doing.
How
He got pulled from the game. He got pulled from the game, and I don't know, but he has looked as panicked on those as Donovan has looked in the shotgun. I think the energy on the sideline sucks. I do not think this team is bought into what's happening, obviously on the offense, but there's a lot of unhappy guys right now. And if I were a wide receiver in this offense, I would have to be questioning, what am I doing here? You don't have a quarterback that can throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. You went into the 4th quarter with 15 yards passing.
Yeah.
14 from Donovan, 1 from Zion Chris. And then Donovan started stringing a few things together. The offense looked different. It looked like they were getting rid of it quick. They were throws to the outside, and then he panics in the end zone and throws that ball, the interception. I mean, if you hit Malik Carr right there, it's 13-7.
Yeah. You got a real game, and you got a really good shot of getting the ball back.
And you have a team that's got to be panicked on this sideline where I'm sitting. Just, what the fuck are we doing in a 6-point game with these guys? But instead,
you know, when you're playing top 25 teams and you're a really bad team, the best thing you can hope for is to be in the game in the 4th quarter.
Yep.
And you give yourself a shot to win at the end. It's exactly what we did at OU. We're not here to we're going to try to make it as ugly and as bogged up as possible until the end. And if we're with it, when we keep you close, we've got to be able to finish. And this team had a lesser team on the chopping block, primed to be beat, and just couldn't do it.
yeah.
Not great. The offense did look encouraging on that last drive where Donovan threw the pick. They were moving faster. They were getting to the line faster. It seemed like the plays were coming in quicker. And the idea was, we're going to go fast. We're going to push the ball downfield. And it looked better. I get people are pissed with the pick. I mean, I wasn't happy to see it. But if that is something they're going to try to do, that was at least effective. I think he threw on that drive. Yeah, you know with Donovan, he's going to take risks. He's going to make a bad read. It's going to happen. But we also know what the other side of that is. And he can have games like he did last year against Texas Tech, where he kind of blacked out and was in his own and had the greatest game of his life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're doing isn't working, so I don't know why the hell you would keep bashing your head against a brick wall, expecting it to change.
The last drive, at least, hey, they used the middle of the field for the first time.
They did.
He didn't throw any interceptions doing it. He saved that for the deep out, the deep corner.
Let's talk about the defense. Let's do something happy. The Iowa State cheerleaders are walking right in front of me. They have all gotten dressed. They're going back, I guess, to get on a plane. They seem happy. It's weird.
Was Michael Batten okay?
I cannot tell. He was not putting any pressure on it. So it was a pass that was batted down at the line.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was A.J. Halsey.
Yeah.
And Batten reacted and jumped up, and when he came down, his foot, it just buckled.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not look good. He was down for 4 or so minutes, and
Yeah.
then kind of hopped off, and then went and sat on the bench, and then I think Iowa State scored there, and so everybody kind of converged on the bench, and I just lost him.
Yeah, I mean, I think
So
Pup Gardner played the rest of the game. I don't remember seeing Batten on the field again.
yeah, I think that's accurate. What?
But yeah, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just feel free.
Yeah, I mean, there's encouraging things from the defense. You know, last week sucked. You can throw that out. Other than last week, I mean, they've been good in the trenches. You know, they've played with discipline. It looks a lot different than it looked the last couple of years. Like we talked about, it looks like a unit playing from top to bottom. Everybody's like in line with what's going on, and you see guys that are routinely making plays. It's not like oh crap, somebody did something. Christian McLaurin, Carlos Allen, Michael Batten, AJ Halsey. Like we have guys who are the core of the defense that are making plays, and each unit is doing what it needs to do. And honestly, even up until it was 13-0, you felt like the defense was going to keep you in the game. I don't really fault the guys for giving up a long run when they're on the field 12 more minutes than the offense, and they're just they're clawing to keep us in the game. I'm saying them in the game. You know, there's a lot of encouraging things from the offense. I mean, Rocco Beck didn't look good. At one point, he was like 45% completions, and it was because the defense was doing a good job of not making it easy for him. There were some long third downs that, you know, they were able to get, and that was disheartening. But again, I mean, the defense is going to bend at some point. They're not going to be perfect for 4 quarters when they're constantly on the field trying to keep the team in the game. All you know, the other 2 facets aren't doing anything.
Yep. I mean, throughout the history of U of H football, they've played 3 of the losses that we have, they played well enough to win. Normally our offenses would score and produce enough points.
If this defense was the unit for the last 2 years, the end result is a lot different with how the offense was playing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might still have a job because we would have gone bowling last year with this defense, but
yeah. Yep.
People do not seem to be happy with Kevin Barbet, is what I'm getting out of the comments. There you go, Brad.
I don't know how to take that.
I don't either, but you know what?
Luckily, I didn't need one of those. Luckily, I didn't need one of those.
We're done with this conversation.
That's a good call, Connor.
What I missed it.
He said he ordered 2 cupcakes. Dan said the offensive line played well tonight. I thought so too. I thought they played well.
Demetrius Hunter had 2 holds. They declined one of them.
Yeah,
Gave him
that's
another.
a negative.
There was a, but I think that's the only 2. There was a chop block.
That was on Stacy. Yeah,
Stacy and
the left tackle, Dakota White, I think.
Dakota White, yeah. Who I think played the entire game for Ndukwe.
I don't remember seeing Ndukwe.
We were not told anything about Ndukwe's, or I asked who was available, who was not, and was not told anything. So that could have just been choice. Duarte tweeted out that Willie Fritz says some players wear a wristband that helps tell them what to do on certain plays. Everybody on the offense wears that wristband. But they still aren't executing. Staff may simplify the playbook even more.
Wow. Is that possible?
I mean, run left, run right, run in the middle would be the only way to simplify it.
They got to just bring some bottle caps and sticks on the field, and they huddle up and point out who's who and do that?
I mean, okay, so just to clarify what you said, the issue is that it's not getting through to the players what they need to do on the field. Whose fault is that? At this point in the season,
fault. That's a coach's fault.
The problem, they practice these plays, and it's not like they practice 100 different plays in a week.
Yeah.
It's certain formations, certain lineups or alignments, and then what? And I mean, I have not missed a practice, so I'm at every practice, and I see what they're doing, and it's a lot of 11 on 11, and it's a lot of 7 on 7. And so you're running routes. You're maybe not working with the running game as much, but I just don't know if your guys are not cutting it and not understanding the plays you're calling. Number one, you just got to try new guys. If these guys can't figure out this very simple, you've got to talk about getting Barbe out of the box. You got to talk about maybe switching up play calling.
Yep.
I don't know what you can do if the excuse or the line or the explanation is we need to simplify the playbook.
Yeah, I think we're at the point right now. I mean, you don't like the mistakes, but you can live with them in week 1, maybe leaking into week 2. You can push that off on, hey, new team, new coaching staff, new everything. We're way past that now. So it's time to just code red some people that are messing up. I mean, you got to run their dick in the dirt or make everybody else run while they sit there and eat a lollipop.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was run their dick in the dirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you got to figure out some way to get through to them. I mean, it's obviously what's working now. You can't just say, please do this or yell at them. I mean, if that's not working, it's time to pay a price. Or maybe that's just too old school.
Yeah. I mean, if why wouldn't that be the thing you go to is playing time? Look, we'll put Anthony Ganji on the field if the other guys aren't doing it. There was a point late in the game, I think on that drive where he threw the INT, that none of the starting receivers were in the game. You had Devin Williams and I'm blanking, but none of your starting 3, Jonah Wilson, Boogie, and Mekhi Muse, were in the game. And I think that says something about them, but I don't think you can blame any of this on the receivers.
No.
Even if you had Manjack in this game, nothing changes.
No.
I mean, unless he's going to take snaps at quarterback and throw it to himself.
Hey, but
he did play quarterback in high school, but I don't know if he wants to do that again.
The best play you saw all night was Mekhi Muse taking a snap from center, and just everybody's like, "What the fuck?" And then the little guy just runs right past him. I think the little guy runs right past him offense is what you need to focus on.
Those are good plays. The ones where the little guy gets past people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all were talking about Zion earlier. I don't know what he brings to the table because he's not given anything to do other than, hey, stand back there and just put it under your arm and take off running. If you're going to put him in the game, fucking give him the playbook and let him fucking play. Let him play as a quarterback. That's just stupid. I mean, if you're only going to bring him in there to run up to the line a few times and hope he can make something crazy happen, you're wasting time. Go out there and let him play. Give him the same type of stuff that you're going to give Donovan, that you want to give to any quarterback. Whatever plays that you want to get done to move the offense down the field, let the kid have it. Let him throw the ball.
I think that's somewhat
is he
true.
Is he going to throw it worse than what we've already seen? Just let the kid do what he can do.
I don't think he's confident, though. You saw it a little bit tonight.
Neither is Donovan. Nobody's confident out there.
I agree with you. But part of the thing is that you see that he's just he looks to throw and he's like, no. And he starts running with it. So people just started singing somewhere behind me. Oh, they're up in the suites.
What are they singing? Chumbawamba?
I really don't understand it, but you know,
I
that'll
think
happen.
it's foolish not to, like Brett is saying, to give Zion the opportunity to run the playbook, because this is it for Donovan Smith. This is his last year of eligibility, if I'm reading the site correctly, the U of H site. Zion's got 2 more years, and you went out to get him to back up Donovan Smith and potentially start, because you're giving him snaps now along with Donovan. So if you don't figure out what you have in him, or maybe you figured it out and that's why you're only having him run quarterback power, you know, that's a big miss, unfortunately. And I mean, I don't like to talk like this about the kids because they're not professionals and they're doing their best and all that. I don't want to be derogatory towards them, but you know, if this is the offense you're going to run and you don't think you can do it, then that's poor evaluation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Is part of that what we talked about in the past, and that maybe this is what you can get in the transfer portal with how things, you know, are right now. I don't know if that means fans have to be more patient, because while Willie Fritz has shown that he can turn things over, then now he's going to have to build through high school and things of that nature and you're going to have to buy into the fact that this is a development program, as it's always been. This isn't a, you know, flash in the pan, we're going to make things happen in an offseason. This is not what this program is. And fans need to understand that and realize that, like, you've got to grow with these guys, or allow them to grow on you, because that is the only way this program is going to get better. Donovan Smith, this is it for him. Zion Chris has 2 more years, and maybe he gets through the growing pains, or they've decided that he ain't it already, and maybe Caleb McMichael is going to be the guy who I'm very high on. He's going to have to get through that injury. Uyale, very accurate. He led that drive, you know, against UNLV for a touchdown. Granted, it was garbage time, but they're not playing him either, and they know how well it isn't going with the other 2. So that is the coaching staff telling you this is what we think the best option is, even though this is not good. And so,
And he's not seeing time in practice either.
Well,
okay?
and
so there you go.
And that's the thing. I rarely ever agree with coaches. So that's all there is to that.
Unfortunately, they're the ones making the calls for now.
Yeah.
Not
you
that
know,
I think they're doing a good job, but
at this point, I mean, I would be all for just going out there and throwing everything against the wall, going a million miles an hour. And if we start to get blown out, then guess what? The next generation starts playing right now. And you start playing. I went through this as a baseball player. I was a senior when Rainer Noble came in, and we started off the season with most of the seniors starting. But once we started to really crap the bed, it was, okay, seniors, y'all are done. Freshmen are taking over because they're the future. You know,
and that worked out.
That's just a cold, hard fact, because you're going to take your lumps. You're going to take lumps the rest of this year, no matter what. So do you want to waste snaps on something that's not going to help build for the future, just to try to maybe score 3 points and celebrate that? Maybe, possibly, you know. You gotta. I mean, we're at that point of the season right now. I mean, it's.
I mean, looking at the schedule, where is
Oh,
there
don't
a
do that.
potential win?
Kansas. Kansas is not good, but you have to go there. And then after that, I mean, Utah, Kansas State, BYU, Baylor could potentially be a win. Baylor is not good. They lulled BYU to sleep today after BYU was up 21-0 and nearly got a backdoor cover. There's not a lot of options here for wins. And it turns out when you don't score, there's no options.
No.
I learned that one on my own. Okay. Manjack, why wasn't he playing? Wouldn't blame him if he left. Manjack is a shot in the arm. Never explained. Is it his last year? I've heard he's gone. So I was told early in the day that he had hurt his shoulder. in practice this week, he was getting treatment on the shoulder. But then he went and practiced after that. So didn't think it was a big deal. Then told today he was not going to go, or he was doubtful today because of it. When I got down to the field before the game at about 4:30 or so, Man Jack was down there, not dressed out. And so I talked to him and he said, yeah, shoulder issues, going to get it looked at tomorrow. And then I had heard these rumors about him potentially going in the portal. And so I just asked him, like, is this true? And he said, no. And he said, I'm Cougs all the way. And so you couldn't deny that any more forcefully. If he's the guy that I think he is, that's the end of the story. But
anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And certainly after that, who knows? But I would be so, and he's the ultimate team guy and is always blocking for his teammates and told me 2 weeks ago, I block for guys the way I want them to block for me. And I mean, that just makes all the sense in the world. So it would really surprise me if anything were to happen with him. He said he expects to be back Friday night in Fort Worth. That's what he told me directly. There's no, I'm not getting that from anybody. That's what I was told. So I would expect him to, if not play Friday, at least be working towards that. But tomorrow is the day where we find out what he is. Brad Towns.
Yep.
From day one, we have said the way we're going to judge this team is that they get better from September 1st to October 1st, October 1st to November 1st. From September 1st to now, you have not gotten any better. You may have regressed.
Defensively, they're much better.
Defensively, after that first half against UNLV,
I don't even
this
know.
team has been very good.
I don't even know. I'm surprised we're even talking about the offense because I don't even know if they exist. So if they don't exist,
well, they threw a ball into that
about.
end zone right there.
Yeah,
but it went to the other team.
Well, at least they got. Did we get inside the 20 and get a penetration?
No red zone attempts.
I really do not like when you use that word. It makes me nervous.
Oh, okay.
But you agree this team has not progressed?
Not offensively.
This is going well. I'm talking as a whole team, which is how we're judging this.
It's hard as I can't really say that the team is today. They're at the exact same spot they were previously. I mean, you remember this team was pure shit when coming into the season. They sucked. They truly sucked the last half of that season.
So what you're saying is they were not good?
No, they were terrible.
Okay.
And you know what? This year, they've been pretty much the same. They're the exact same team, except one thing. The weird thing is that now the defense is keeping them at least in games, and the offense this year is last year's defense. This year's defense is last year's offense, at least up until Kansas State.
Okay. UNLV, you had a garbage touchdown or garbage time touchdown. Otherwise, you'd have been shut out. You got shut out here. There's really no difference.
No.
There's no growth. Special teams are a disaster, just as they've been for 5 weeks. And I really expected them to be better. I thought this special teams, with the focus that Willie pays to it, would be better. They have not. The penalties, the dumbass mistakes, the turnovers, the missed kicks, it's been a disaster. And, I like the guys that are on the special teams. I like them a lot. And I think Jack Martin is really talented. And I think Joseph Kim has a very good future. I think Liam Doherty is the MVP of the first 5 games.
Well, yeah.
He had a great day today. I think he averaged 47 yards a kick. He's gonna get arthritis from kicking as much as he's kicked, but thankfully he's really young, and you don't have to worry about that for a while. Going back to what you said, Martin, about Zion and McMichael and Donovan, this being his 5th year. So now that he's played 5 games, this is it. I think all options are on the table at quarterback. I think you very well could and should look at the transfer market and see what you can go find. And you've got Austin Carlisle coming in as a freshman. McMichael will be young. You have more time with Zion. You need 3 or 4 guys that you think can play, and let it sort itself out down the road. But you need somebody with some experience in the college game, and because it's just not working, and it's not getting any better. Like, if there was something you could see and be like, we're building something, give us a little bit, we're getting there. But I haven't seen it. And I have been, I won't say an apologist, but I have said, give them time. Things are but you're not seeing progress.
But the thing is, we gave him time.
Yeah.
You're at that part of the season where it's time's up.
I don't think that's true, but I think I expected 3 wins from this team, and I'm frustrated where they're at.
Yeah.
My expectations have been low the entire time. You were not left with a lot of talent. You brought a lot of new guys in. You never know how that's going to work. Some of the new guys have been some of your best players, and then some of them haven't been. And you're going to have to give Willie 3 years. It just has to happen. You cannot keep cutting bait after 2.
Yeah.
And
well, no. I mean, Willie's here. I don't have a question about that.
Right. But fans are so frustrated with what they're seeing because to them, it's an extension of what you saw in 23 and 22.
Well, yeah. Well, the people that will call for any kind of Willie question whether he's the right solution or not, at least right now, are also the people that told us that we're going to guarantee that Dana was going to kill it here and was going to be a superstar, and that was up until last year.
Was anybody ever excited about Dana? I came in the middle of it. I was on a submarine, I think, when he got hired.
Brad was, I was.
Okay.
I was very high on it.
I wrote an article that said Dana brings competence and gravitas to U of H. Are you doing your back scratcher?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. All right. You've lived 52 years. I've lived 45. They have made no advancements to the back scratcher. It's the exact same thing it was in the mid 70s.
I know. Well, they come up with a lot of different contraptions, but they're just none of them work well. None of them are worth it. It's either the back scratcher or like the corner on a wall.
See, I like a wire hanger myself.
Like a door. Yeah, that works too.
You get you get up in there, just start bleeding out. But your itch is fans want to see up tempo. The up tempo was the best you've looked, and they practiced that a lot, and you just have not seen it from this team. I really think there's going to be some changes going forward. You can't keep putting this on the table. And Willie says it's gotten to the point right now. We played a few games. If a guy is just not capable of doing it, we have to limit how much he's playing, or we sure as heck better coach him better so he doesn't make the same mistake over and over again. The kids don't want to make mistakes. That's fine, but that doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, he's saying the right things. He's identifying the right problem.
Things. But now you have to go to the next step.
Right.
And it's the same spot it was last week. Who different played compared to last week? Ndukwe and Dakota White. But who else? I don't think there were any other major changes except Manjak didn't play?
No, I mean the offensive line has been pretty steady as far as who's seeing the
Yeah.
field. Even if Clayton Tune was this team's quarterback, I don't know that. I mean, I think they might be a little bit more exciting because he's obviously more confident as a player. He's an NFL quarterback, but the interior, the O-line has not been great. Whether that's coaching or play calling, whatever it may be, I don't know that even a very good quarterback is going to get us any more wins than the team currently has at the moment. And I think that needs to be what's addressed more than getting a quarterback. I mean, obviously getting a quarterback is important, but it doesn't matter who the guy is if he doesn't have time to run the offense.
Yeah.
Could it be
Go ahead.
I mean, it may be a multiple prong issue in that the play calling hasn't worked. I'm not an X's and O's guy. So I can't tell you specifically what is or isn't working. I just know that what's being run isn't.
Right.
The offensive line has not looked good. I mean, they've been getting their ass kicked on stunts all year. I have to go back and watch today to confirm that. But when I was able to watch play by play, I mean, any kind of movement up front by the D line, and the guys just didn't know who to block. I think that is the biggest issue. And unfortunately, this is the offensive line coach is not new. He was here last year. I was in the building with him, and he came from Tulane with Willie Fritz, so he's comfortable with Coach Fritz. Now, Barbie wasn't the offensive coordinator with them at Tulane, but the offensive line coach has been working with these players. These are his guys. And there have been issues, and I think that has been the biggest issue. Generally, if you look at an offense being bad, that's a lot of times what the issue is. Donovan hasn't been perfect. He hasn't been great. I'm not really up here to apologize for him. But I think that's got to get fixed. Like, that should be, in my opinion, the priority between now and next season is let's get the guys on the field that are going to do the best job, figure out who's coming back next year, and then we fill in the holes of who's leaving that we need to replace. They brought in some pretty good players. This is not me patting myself on the back because I didn't really have a lot to do with offensive line recruiting or evaluating, but there's some good young players that they were able to bring in. Ronald Snacks McLean's a good player. Raekwon Bell, locally, they have good players that they're going to have the opportunity to develop, but it has to get done.
Yeah. At U of H, you're never going to go NIL and pay those big offensive linemen. It's never going to happen.
No.
So you're going to have to develop them. And the thing about that is offensive line development does not happen in a year. It happens in 3 or 4 years. And you just have to be patient. And you're going to cycle through a lot of guys. Snacks has not seen the field. He has been injured. He has not practiced. He was dressed out this week in practice, which is the first time we've seen that. But I don't think he was dressed out for the game. So that's a guy that you have a lot of hope for, but he's just not seeing the field. Raekwon Bell, they have a lot of hope for, not seeing the field. You're seeing Peyton Dunn and Tank Jenkins, guys that have played a lot of snaps here. Tank Jenkins, it feels like he's been a starter for a decade.
Yeah.
And, you've done some different things at the tackle spots the last couple of years. It really hasn't worked. Dakota White was serviceable today. I think Jake Wiley was okay. I'd need to go back and look, but I don't think there were major issues. Did U of H take a sack?
One,
I don't think they did. Okay.
I only know that because there's a difference in, if you look at the stats, there's a difference in like run yards and then like adjusted with sacks. So I believe there was
fair
one.
enough. So you got a lot going on, and it's going to take time. And the fans are clearly fed up, and I don't blame them. And U of H is so lucky to not have a home game next week because there would be 10,000 people here.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
The tailgating was pretty good today. What the students are doing on Cullen, fantastic. But they came to the game. They were late. They were not here early, but they did show up. And they stuck around. You kind of held them in that game, that 3-0 limbo for forever. And, I always think runs down the field with 12 plays and they don't score in the second half. And you're like, okay. But yeah, no. They did have the ball for 35 minutes today. And it felt like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So here's a question for both of you. I watched some of Tulane today, and it struck me that I think Tulane has better talent than U of H, even this year.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Willie left better talent to come to what is perceived as a better situation. But if either of you have seen Tulane play, do you think I'm true or I'm correct? Not true. Oof.
Yeah, I do. I mean, overall, and see, here's the thing: is I mean, they're better players in that they're trained to do what they should do. Like I would take a lesser skilled player who does exactly what he's told to do and does it consistently over a guy with a unbelievable ability who might do it half the time. He's got guys on that roster are guys who came in and have been there for years and built up, and then they've added selectively through the portal to make little adjustments here and there. But that's what you're seeing from Tulane is 7 years of development of what that program is. I mean, that Tulane, you talk about, they were terrible. They were terrible in year one. They weren't very good in year two, but they still got the bowl eligibility, I believe.
And then they fell back. And then
they fell off.
They had
those
those 2 years
post COVID. But it took them a long time to build that. I think it can be done quicker here, but it's still going to have to go through the same process.
Mm-hmm.
We get this question quite a bit every week, I think. Somebody scheduled to be the person that asks this next week. Parker Jenkins, 3 rushes for -4 yards today. I think the way Stacy Snead runs to and through a hole is so much better than the way Parker Jenkins runs to and through a hole, at least this year. Stacy is today you saw it 3 times where he's just making a whole lot out of what doesn't appear to be much. And Parker Jenkins runs right into the line and has fallen down. And I just don't see how you continue giving Parker snaps when guys like Stacy Snead are just running the ball better.
I mean, it's a tough situation for a player to be in who really wants to be on the field and wants to produce. But you also know you're only going to have a couple of opportunities to do it. If you don't, it's back to the bone pile because somebody else is going to take your spot. That's just the nature of competition. And even though I think we're lacking in a lot of spots for talent on this team, running back is not one of those spots. Yeah. I mean, you got 3 to 4 guys who can actually get out there and play. And I don't think it's the fact that I don't think Parker's bad. I don't think he's fallen backwards. I just think the other guys have stepped up, and he hasn't either, whether it be whatever circumstances it may be, he hasn't been able to capitalize on the few small chances he gets. But
I will say that they gave him more opportunities in pass pro today than they have been.
Yeah.
So that could be a positive step for Parker Jenkins, that they're trusting him more with the things that they have not trusted him with. And, I think he's a genuine guy who is thoughtful and really makes an effort to explain things. And frankly, that's what I care about dealing with guys is, be a talker. And he is. And, he was pretty good last year. He struggled this year.
I think part of it with Parker, like if you watch Stacy, a lot of what Stacy does when he's been successful, his long bursts, because he's been, Ray has had good runs, but as far as long runs, I want to say Stacy's had like the 3 longest runs of the year. It's usually him cutting back, seeing a hole when something isn't initially there, and he's been better at adjusting to maybe poor blocking, maybe the defense, stuff in the run, and he's able to bounce it out. I think with Parker, if it's not there, he's not being able to bounce it off or adjust. Like he's the kind of runner that maybe just needs the blocking to develop for him to get into it. Now, as a running back, you kind of be able to make a play regardless. But earlier in the year, I saw that Parker and Ray they only got like a yard and a half before contact relative to like Stacy, who was about 4 yards before contact. So some of it luck with carries, maybe, but a lot of it is just Stacy's creating when something isn't there. Like his 2 big runs today were him cutting back to the backside because whether over pursuit or him just being able to make a play. And somebody mentioned Tulane didn't bring, or Fritz wasn't able to bring any offensive player from Tulane. It wasn't for lack of trying. Chris Brazel was on an OV, but Tennessee, I guess, just paid more. There was a better opportunity. Can't really blame the kid for going to play at the SEC. So.
Okay, so let me jump in here real quick. Alabama was blowing Georgia out of the water.
It was 28-0, right?
Yeah, I think it was 33-7. Georgia 34, Bama 33.
No way.
2.5
Is
minutes
it over?
ago, Georgia
Okay.
just scored. They're about to go up 35, or probably go for 2.
Star Pizza. Get you some Star Pizza. Why not? Food is good. Pizza's good. America is good. U of H offense, not so good. SMU is about
to comeback.
About to be 2-0 in the ACC. That's pretty weird. Didn't have that going.
Oh wow, they boat raced Florida State.
They're boat racing the hell out of them. Meanwhile,
oh shit!
your medicine must be working.
Oh, it's working.
Because if you go and review the tape from last week, you sounded on death's door, and this week you're a little feisty.
Well, I mean, okay, I had high blood pressure going crazy. So in that, I had a little. I was having stroke symptoms, and when that happens, your brain's a little off. And for my brain to be off, it's some real fucked up shit because I don't have much up there to be off. So looks even crazier.
So tomorrow we have made some contingency plans for talking about them Cougars. That's our contingency plan. Galen Robinson will join us talking about U of H basketball in practice, the preseason, about what's happening for him. He's going to try to hawk some of those one substantial hoodies and pant combos, the ones we're trying to get for Brad.
He's your freshly signed guard with the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah, but I mean that's a preseason thing. Don't get too excited about all that. But that's our guy.
Chip in a chair, baby. That's all you got. That's all you need.
That's our guy. There he is with Star Pizza, asking me if I wanted a piece because he's just such a benevolent person.
And Bama
Such
just scored. Holy shit.
Why are people watching us? Why aren't you watching that?
I mean, this is unreal. It's like 3 touchdowns in a minute and a half.
Do you think it's time to consider moving on from Barbet? I think his plug calling has been atrocious on the talent.
Yeah.
The talent's not there, but you need a play caller that can adjust. And I just haven't seen the adjustment. And I love that guy. I really do like him.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to call it how you see it. And it's just not working right now. Now, maybe he turns it around. I think he's actually a very good coach on the field dealing with players. But for whatever reason, it has not transferred to the field during a game. And I don't know if that's something Willie wants to do. It might be. He has had a record of moving on from coordinators. He's had I mean, he has Sheil Wood as his defensive coordinator only because a guy by the name of Lance Kidry, who's the head coach at McNeese, he was going to Tulane and got a last minute offer from Miami, took that. And so Willie had to go find somebody else. He found Sheil Wood, and now you have the defense you have. Sometimes that's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, who knows where you're at if Lance Kidry is the DC here. We'll take it. Thank you for watching us. Nice crowd tonight. A lot of angry people. But that's okay. It's just happening. It is what it is.
I'm not going to scream from the mountaintops that this is the best roster in the Big 12 or anything, but I don't think the talent is as bad as people are making it out to be. There are good skill players on the offense. It's kind of bananas that they can't make more happen. I don't know. That's that. I would just argue against that. I don't think I don't think they're bereft of talent here.
I think the talent is a significant step below, and we don't have enough talent to mitigate the mistakes that we make. With this with this level of talent, it's going to take perfection, and that goes with everybody on the field, and that also goes from the coaching staff as well. I mean, they can't mess up. You got to call a damn good game. You've got to do everything that is possible to do in preparation has to be done. There is zero margin for error because I just do not think this roster is skilled enough to play. And I mean, we start with the offensive line. The offensive line that we have this year were backups to a terrible offensive line that we had last year, who also featured a second-round draft pick at left tackle. And also, what was was it Johnson? The guy who he transferred out.
Tyler Johnson?
Oh, Tyler Johnson. Yeah, he was
Cameron Johnson. Yeah.
But they were ineffective last year. And these are the guys who couldn't compete for jobs last year.
Well, your tackles are new.
Yeah.
And, your guards are the same. Demetrius was the backup. You lost Ruben Unge and Lance Robinson, I think.
Robinson
year before.
Year before.
Okay. Anything on that game, Towns? I'm watching the game through you.
Georgia's driving on the 35, 2 minutes left, down 34-41.
Okay. This is accurate. They do have enough talent on offense to avoid consecutive shutouts.
That's true.
I don't know if the depth is as good as you would want it or as good as other teams in the Big 12. And like the skill spots, at the wide receiver spot, I think your depth falls off from the starters significantly. You're looking at Mekhi Muse and Devin Williams and Marquise Shoulders. Shoulders is probably done for the year with a fracture in his foot. It's been an issue for him for a few weeks, and they finally went in and looked, and it's not good. I like that kid too. But I like Devin Williams, both from Tulsa. Tulsa, bad day today against UNT. But I don't think they're anywhere near the level of Jonah Wilson and Stephon Johnson and Manjack. And I would say that Jonah Wilson is not having a very good year, and Stephon Johnson not really having a good year. I think Manjack's been okay. He's done what you need him to do, but he's never going to be your first option. I did not have Frenchies today. And I don't want to say that it has anything to do with the outcome of the game, but it probably does. I didn't have it last Saturday either. Now that I think about it.
Uh-oh, you need
So
to rectify
that could be, and Friday I'll be in Fort Worth. I will have the Babes fried chicken that Townsend and I went to,
yeah.
Big 12. It's all you can eat fried chicken and all you can eat sides.
Yeah.
America.
Which is fantastic.
It was really good. Yes, he did die open, whatever. Met Eddie today. Took time. Yep. See the same lack of ambition, desire, and sound decision making. I don't know about ambition and desire, but you might be right about sound decision making.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know how to judge somebody's ambition or desire on a football field.
You got to show their war face, the game face, like Bobby Knight.
So as far as I know, this is the third time in school history that you've been shut out in 2 consecutive games. The first was the first 2 games ever at the Astrodome. The second was 1994.
Yeah, when
Kim
I was
Helton
in school.
Special. Yeah, Kim Helton.
Who was the quarterback
in Ohio
then?
State.
Was that Tyson Helton?
Wasn't
Chuck Clemens yet?
No, Tyson
Definitely.
was. Chuck may have been 90. Well, maybe 94. I don't think it was Jimmy Klingler. I don't know. I was still in high school, Brad. Some of us are young.
You're not that young anymore.
Let me do a timeout real quick. There's a guy that's been around U of H athletics for 25 or 30 years. He goes by the name of Queso Ken. Hello, Queso. So Queso Ken found me today before the game and told me that he watches this show unclothed and he just watches us.
While
And
dipping
so I want to
himself
say
in queso?
while dipping himself in queso, he's slathered in it. But thank you, Queso. We appreciate that. It was good to see you.
Okay. Hey, whatever floats your boat.
Okay, now this
All views
is
count.
almost indefensible. This agitated me in the press box. How you didn't even make an effort. And I understand you were kind of backed up and you don't want to make a huge mistake and turn a 3-0 lead into a 10-0 lead. But you had 3 timeouts. And you put Donovan in. So they had been flipping back and forth. Donovan had the previous possession. They put him back in. And I thought, okay, because they want him to throw.
Yeah.
And you can't have Zion Chris backed up 80 yards. Smart, Willie. And then they take a knee. And I think that defeatist attitude seeps into your team. And your team is like, well, if they're not trying, why am I? Why am I working hard for this? And I just don't know how you do that to your guys. If you are conservative and try, okay. But I don't get it.
Yeah.
I apologize to Kingston Flemings if he had to watch that. 5-star basketball recruit, I believe from San Antonio, Kingston Flemings was in this weekend. What I believe happened is he came in Thursday night. You get 48 hours on a visit. They shipped him out before the game started.
So you got to see a little bit of pregame or whatever, and then, get out of here.
All right.
Those guys know what they're doing.
Yeah. So did not have to deal with this. I am efforting some more information on how his visit went. I don't think I'll have it tonight, but we will talk about it tomorrow night. But yeah, apologize. I think that's pretty accurate. And while there is good reason to have no confidence in that offense, you got to show your guys you're fighting. And he's new, and there is a chance you lose this team. And you're kind of in that area, and I think you just got to show them you're fighting for them. If they screw it up and it becomes a 10-point lead, okay. Brad?
Georgia just converted on 4th down, middle 15 to go in Alabama territory.
Okay. That was a very good update.
As far as the rest of the U of H stuff goes, I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah. Is there anything we have not talked about from this game or from the day or from whatever? Jamal Morris had 10 tackles. Mike Benton had 7. And my guy, Hershey McLaurin, had 6, including a TFL, a breakup, and a quarterback hurry.
Love Mike,
I love that kid.
and I know he'll be out there next week with his ankle taped up because you're going to have to saw his leg off to get him off the field. But please, Mike, when you listen to this, keep doing what you're doing, but lower the hands a little bit, less in the face. That's okay, buddy. I can appreciate the effort. You get a little careless.
I think the issue is
Please never say less in the face ever again either. No more penetration and no more less in the face.
I think, to be fair to Mike, I think it is because he is of shorter stature that where his hands end up are in the quarterback's face generally when he's trying to distract them.
True.
And, he can't really run in there with his hands down. He'd look ridiculous, but maybe he pulls up a yard short or something, or I don't know, goes a little quicker on the delayed blitz or something. I don't know. He's playing hard, so you want that, but I think that would have been a 3rd and 8 this week because I'm pretty sure it was an incomplete pass.
And I look at the penalties, and again, they are a massive problem. But when I go back at the end of the games and I see, and I compare it to the past of when penalties were a massive problem. In the past, penalties were a massive problem because we had 10 to 15 of them. Now we're only getting 7 or 8, but those are killers. Every one of them are killers. They stop 3rd down, so they extend drives for the opponent. They just hurt, or they pull back runs on special teams. They negate big plays. They all have – there's more yards attached to it than the yards of the penalty itself. It's either taking away more yards or giving more yards because of it.
The crucial points that those penalties have been called this year. I mean, I don't think I'm exaggerating to say that 70% of the penalties that have been called have been on 3rd down or a big gain or on a special team. I mean, you're not seeing them. You're not seeing dumbass little 5-yard false starts. There's virtually none. But there are critical 10 and 15-yard penalties that this offense does not come back from a 15-yard penalty. It just doesn't happen.
Especially not if Zion's in the game. You're not converting a 2nd and 16.
No,
because they're gonna call a run play.
Martin, question for you. From a scouting perspective, why does quarterback play seem so bad? I know the answer, but let's see what you got.
I mean, the people smarter than me, I'm only an expert because I've been fired, but the experts that are paid, there's a lot more cover 2. So harder throws to make, right? I mean, you see CJ Stroud do it for the Texans, but that cover 2 shot is not easy to do for a lot of guys. It's really just combated spread offenses and force guys to throw underneath. And a lot of it has been more vertical and stretching the field. So guys whose decisions have been easy in the sense that, okay, I throw it deep or, push the ball. They have to choose to make the smart play. And a lot of times the smart play isn't necessarily what they've been comfortable doing. So it's like in anything else. It's just a cycle that was going to happen with football. Linebackers are 215 pounds. Defenses have gone to 4.25s. And so the defenses have combated it by forcing underneath throws. Eventually, which is what you're going to see soon, is teams are going to put their 240-pound backs and run them up the gut with a fullback or 2 tight ends, 21 personnel. and it's going to turn into more smash mouth football in the more futuristic sense, of course. But I think it's just a cycle that's going to happen in football. The game has been dumbed down in a sense for young quarterbacks. They play a lot of 7-on-7 growing up, and that's why they're so advanced when they get to these levels. You'll have your freshmen step in and be able to just, throw it, down the field and spread offenses. The field be opened up. But if defenses are forcing them to take underneath stuff that they've never had to do, it's like speaking a different language for these kids. I think is my best guess at what's going on.
We're going to host a special show very soon about how Ryan hates 7-on-7. We're going to go deep into how it's ruined football in the state of Texas. Martin's example, very, very good. Very, very probable. Also, 75 or 80 of the quarterbacks that are starting in this country are transfers to new teams. It is impossible to be good as a quarterback with a new team in 5 or 6 games. My best example is Joe Burrow. He looked like an average quarterback in his first year at LSU.
Oh God!
In his second year at LSU,
Hold
he
on,
looked like he invented the sport.
In year one, what did I tell you? Just another Mettenberger clone.
It just Ryan or Etling, Danny Etling. He was the same guy. But in year 2, now saying that, Donovan's in year 2. You have not seen that same progression.
Well, and
with Donovan,
for him also, the difference is that the way that you progress, one, you learn the offense. His offense changed, but you're also getting that time spent on the practice field. After practice, during summer, being able to throw hundreds and hundreds of passes to these receivers. Well, all of his receivers from last year were gone. His go-to receivers are gone.
Yeah, they lost.
You have a few left, huh?
They lost NFL talent. I mean, Pat Paul obviously was picked, but Matt Golden and Sam Brown are going to play on Sundays, and they're gone.
Right. So, I mean, there's not that continuity. It's not like back in the day where you had Case Keenum and then Patrick Edwards and Tyrone Carrier and the entire group.
Bryce Bell at running back who could catch the out of the ball.
Yeah, and Justin Johnson.
Yep, Justin Johnson.
Slot. But those guys were together for 4 years and going through thousands and thousands of reps over 4 years, during season, off season, personal practice,
and had 2 geniuses back to back as offensive coordinators in Dana Holgerson and Cliff Kingsbury, just way ahead of their time. Kind of fell off there, but at the time they were just. Okay, Jack, all he does is insult me. So I would take this as a good thing. That's a damn intelligent explanation. Did not say that about mine, but, whatever. Crawford Jones, I think this is So in that year, 2012, was the year they went to SMU and gave up 72 points. And you had 3 quarterbacks throw pick sixes in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Crawford was one of them. That was one of the most frustrating games I have ever experienced.
But didn't Crawfish get the start at ECU to close out the season?
I do not know. It didn't matter. Nothing was going to happen there.
Well, that 2012 was just attrition times 12.
That was a rough one. 2014, I think, was worse, but it did result in a change, and you got Tom Herman, and things got a little better. I think we're done. I really don't know what else to talk about. I mean, we've done 75 minutes on 0 points. That's hard to do.
0 points in 2 games.
How does soccer podcasts even work? Like, if you're just never scoring, what are you talking about?
It's usually yelling about the refs and how many people are rolling around on the ground crying because someone breathed on them, or look at that wonderful pass. It was really, really nice. Did you see that?
Okay.
We kicked the ball close. It was fun.
There are 502 people watching right now, and we thank you. There is one person watching on Facebook. Thank you,
Hi, person.
whoever you are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And she's not watching it right now, but my mom's in the other room, and I do appreciate her coming down and being with her gigantic son, and she'll see this tomorrow morning.
Are you treating her well? You doing?
Yeah.
Taking her out?
Well, no, she's
Showing her the sights?
She wants to come. She gets to come down here to relax.
Okay. Yeah. Let's take one more look. A little replay, if you will.
Here's what you were talking about, partner. Here, there's Malik Carr, number 6, right? He's going to release, detaches as an unbalanced look. And here's Trayvon Howard, number 25, covering him, and he just walks right past him, man. Quarterback never sees him.
Pretty sure that was Jonah Wilson open on the back of that too. I don't know if you guys saw his.
Yeah.
Yep.
He came open over the middle.
One more count, and that's two guys. It's unfortunate. But I'm sure he was shocked that he had that much time to throw because he was back there forever.
Well, when 3 guys do get to the end zone, yeah, that you do have some time. And Malik, I mean, he's fast for a tight end, but he's still a 6'6", 250-pound tight end. It takes a while to get down the field, and he was all by himself. Do you have an update on Georgia, Alabama?
Yes, Georgia tried to throw one to the end zone from the 30, 40-yard line, and it was picked off by a great pickoff.
So that's a
Alabama.
ball game.
And that ball game is over.
Okay.
So don't make Alabama home dogs, please. We don't need them to be. We don't need to see that. You just can't piss those guys off. They're too good.
Yeah. Brad, player of the game.
Mr. Strong. It's like he's
strong.
But you can give it to the entire defensive line. They played lights out. Those guys were making plays. They were, even when they weren't making big plays, they were constantly in the backfield, and they were doing it as an undersized group against a seasoned large offensive line. I mean, I was really, really impressed that they spent most of the night playing in the other team's backfield. You'd like to see them make more plays, but I mean, really, I can't ask for much more. They did a phenomenal job. But Strong gets it for me because that's the play of the year for me.
Okay. Martin, who would you call your player of the game?
Probably Hershey McLaurin. I mean, he's just all over the field, man.
He is.
I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Not that I think they listen to me and why he's a Coug, but I was very excited when he hit the portal, and I'm glad that they pursued him and that he is on the field for them. But yeah, I mean, he had a pass breakup, he had a tackle for loss, he had 6 tackles, and he just kind of jumped off the field. I mean, he had one play where I don't know if he got a handle the ball, but he was like 4 feet in the air, trying to make a play on a ball. Yeah, he's just exciting to watch. He's fun. You could give it to like the defense as like a unit, game ball, but he stood out.
Did you ever get to meet Hershey in person?
I know. I don't know if it was because we had so many guys in town that we were like constantly like flipping around, or if that happened while I was in the hospital with my daughter. I don't really remember the timeline. There's a bunch of guys who like Michael Batten was one of the guys that we offered. I said this before when Dana got fired. So there's a bunch of guys that we offered, and I didn't get the chance to meet. I think that's our cue, huh?
Boy, no kidding, right? Get the F out. Hershey, of all the guys that I met early before the practice season started, the preseason, Hershey stood out to me. We just had an instant bond and camaraderie, and he speaks in the third person. And he told me Hershey is a nickname he gave himself as a young kid because his aunt gave him a nickname that he was uncomfortable with. So he nicknamed himself. And then he started calling himself talking in the third person using Hershey. I'm all for Hershey. And the fact that he's just a ball player and he's everywhere.
Get
It's
that,
hard to
get that Ricky Henderson in him.
Yeah.
Boy, Ricky has had a week, and I love Ricky Henderson. I love that guy. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to give it to an offensive player. Stacy Snead.
Fair.
I mean, by himself carried this offense today.
Mm-hmm.
It's 79 yards on 10 carries. It's hard to believe he only carried the ball 10 times, but he did.
There
And
you go.
frankly, they got to figure out a way to get him the ball more. I thought Liam Doherty had a great game. What you see from freshman punters is they'll kick 6 really well and then shank 2. And when I was on the field before the game, he shanked 2 right at me, like almost like he was aiming. But he kicked the ball very well today. He messed up on a ball that he should have hung a little bit more, that went in the end zone for a touchback. But otherwise, just a really, really good game. So I really like what I've seen from him. Probably the bright spot on that special teams. You just haven't seen it. Jack Martin, once again, one play today, got his one kickoff, touchback.
There you go.
Yanez and them are still going. They started after us. So I bet Andy Yanez in the press box, because he came and sat over next to me, that we could go longer than they go tonight. And that's another thing I don't want to hear ever again on this podcast. Brad saying penetration or me saying we can go longer all night. Just not great. Brad, what are your final thoughts of what you saw tonight? And what do you expect at TCU? Do you expect changes? And if so, what?
No, I don't expect any changes. I expect it to be the same old shit. I mean, that's just the way. Why would I expect any different? Tonight is when I would expect something different.
You don't think they're at a point where they're going to be desperate or?
Well, it should be. It should be at that point, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think Willie's a lot more pragmatic than I am, and he's probably got different kind of plans. I mean, because everybody be just wearing running shoes, and we're going to fucking run all week this week till everybody can get their shit together. You're going to run because you want to add extra yards to the game. Guess what? You're going to have to be in shape to get those yards. So it would be nothing but absolute punishment the entire week for me. But that's me. And that's why I'm sitting here being fat and talking into a shitty microphone. But it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they run up like 48-2.
I think TCU has that extra motivation in that Dana Holgerson's there 3 days a week. And I think this matters a lot to Dana. And Sonny is under some pressure right now, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think any opportunity they get to run up the score on a Texas team, they're going to do. A team like U of H that has spurned Sonny a couple times, that fired Dana.
Well, remember, we're also competing head to head in recruiting waters. Same recruiting waters, and our recruiting class looks pretty strong right now. But I'm sure they've got some voices in the ears of some of our guys, the same way we would have in theirs. So they're gonna. I don't think anytime we play an in-state school, we're going to try to kick each other's teeth in because it means more than just what's on the scoreboard. This goes to recruiting and all that state pride stuff.
Somebody in the comments mentioned that Stacy Snead had more yards than Donovan Smith. That's true. Stacy had more yards running than Smith had passing. Not good.
Unless you're Stacy Snead.
Unless you're right.
And
there's one guy
your hope for the day was to have decent numbers.
Yep. Real quick before we get Martin's final thoughts, is batting out? We don't know. We'll find out. You don't know if it's a sprain or something that just goes away. They are young and in shape, and we're not. Martin.
Yeah, I mean, there's friends of mine I worked with in the building last year that are now at TCU. They're looking forward to this game. They're going to try to kick their ass for all the other reasons you guys mentioned. I don't really know that as a fan that you can really put too much faith in the rest of this season or allow it to affect your mental health. I think you just watch it for what it is. It's a few hours you get to watch some football, and then that's it. You'd leave it there because you can't really move forward with any of these results and expect it to mean anything, unfortunately. I mean, I think it's great for the defensive players because it's an opportunity to put up defensive tape for maybe, pro scouts to get a chance to look at it because they are playing really well. And unfortunately for all the players that participate in the other two phases of football, it is not good for them. I'll say this again to defend my point about the talent on the team. There are the starters specifically. I agree with the depth issues. There are guys on this team that if I worked for a school and I was pre-portaling, I would 100% be telling the coaches we should target these guys if they hit the portal. And I don't even contend that I was very good at the job. People better than me doing it now because they're still getting paid. And I guarantee some of these names are coming up in people's offices, whether it's Boogie Johnson, Manjack, really the whole running back room. If they have eligibility when the season ends, they're going to get targeted, illegally or not. So, I mean, I don't know that any of that was eloquent enough to move forward with, except for just to be glad that you're not participating in the games and just enjoy the 3 hours of being able to watch football the rest of the year. I mean,
Yep.
You told fans to not get emotionally invested. We are in the business of fans getting emotionally invested. And so
get
emotionally
invested in coming out here and hanging out with us, and we can all be sickos together.
Yeah, let us get
upset
for you.
We can have a laugh and just laugh about the absurdity of everything. Because I mean, really, what can you do at this point? You want to have your blood pressure go through the roof and stroke out like I did?
Yeah.
Poor guy. This is important. Austin Carlisle from Ridgepoint, his best receivers committed to TCU. U of H has an interest in flipping. Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, honestly, if you're a high school player and you're wanting to really get out and play early, you got to think, U of H is wide open.
Tryouts. Yeah.
U of H is wide open. I got a really good shot to compete day one.
Come audition.
Yeah.
Good spots still available. Even if this season is a wash, give this coach time. Things will change. I mean, he's shown that everywhere he's been.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to live through the shit before you get to the good stuff. But he did put two fantastic back-to-back seasons together at Tulane. And that's the thing that U of H fans have not experienced really since the run and shoot. I would say that you put two great seasons back to back. It's not happened in the last 35 years.
I don't think we've ever put back to back 10-win seasons together. 10+ win seasons together. Never won 10.
89-90, I think, was the closest you've probably been. 76 and 77, maybe.
I don't think we played enough games back then.
Okay, but I mean, that's what you're talking about. But it's
right.
so rare that you have to reach back 50 years. And
10 wins is tough.
10 wins is tough. but you do get about 15 chances to do it. And so you get your 12 and then you get a conference title game. And if you go into the playoff, you get maybe 2 or 3 more.
Playoff.
You know, you've played 14 games several times here. You went 10-4 in 2006. You went 13-1 in 2015. You went 12-1, 12-2 in 2021. I mean, there's opportunities. That damn Yanez is still going at it. Hi, Jack. Yes, we are still at it. We're 90 minutes in, but we're gonna stop soon. I'm old. It's almost 11.
I agree.
So my takeaways from this game are the special teams sucked, and that pisses me off because they should be better. That should be leading you to shorter fields, easier scoring opportunities, and making it easy for Kevin Varbe. If they're not getting it, if the players just aren't picking up on the system, then make it easier for them, give them shorter field. The defense has done everything you could have asked from them. You take away last week, which was a shit game, and they've put 4 pretty good games together. Your offense scored 7 points, and it really didn't score any points against UNLV because those are backups. You scored one touchdown against OU, and that was I don't even remember what it was. You had a good day against Rice, and then you've gone 127 minutes without scoring. I mean, we could talk about the offense forever, but it's just never. It's not going to change anything.
I mean, at this point, it is what it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, when they show you improvement, then we can talk. But they haven't shown you that this year.
I mean,
And
let's say this. Any given night, Donovan can give you what he gave you tonight, or he can give you what he gave against University of Texas last year. And
Yes.
look electric. So you just hope one of those days we see the good side. Because when he's good, he's really, really good. But when he's bad, it's not that good.
yeah. So there are like 500 people cleaning all in like 2 sections. And that's kind of fun to see.
That's impressive.
I've never seen that many people in the same area, but I guess that makes it go pretty fast.
Got to sweep it as a unit. Everybody go together.
I like it. It ain't going to be this bad coming up later in the year because there's not going to be all these people.
So what's your road trips upcoming, Ryan? Where are you going?
I'm going to TCU, and then 2 weeks later, I'm going to Kansas to Arrowhead. I'll go to what other football games are away? BYU. I'll be there. I'll go to Vegas for
Going to
like
Arizona?
4 days. Oh, Arizona. I'm sorry. That's the one. I'm going for about 5 days to Arizona. I'm going to Salt Lake to Provo for BYU. Basketball, I just scheduled virtually the entire season. Credit card bill went from this to this with flights and hotels and car rentals.
Yeah.
And I got to say, the Southwest website, way easier than American and United. Give your money to Southwest. Those other guys, that's terrible. But yeah, we'll go to Kansas State. I'll go to West Virginia for the first time ever. Never been to the state. Never been to games there. I'll go to Kansas, Arizona. Arizona State is the same trip. I'll do that. I will not go to UCF once again. I'll go to Baylor to end the year. And I'm debating about Texas Tech because that's you go to Arizona for 5 days, you come home for a game with Iowa State on Saturday, and then you go to Texas Tech for Big Monday. And I don't know how that's going to work for me. So it's going to be a lot. And with 20 conference games, 10 on the road, 10 at home, that's That's a hell of a schedule. But
We'll
you're
talk about
20
we'll talk about that more tomorrow night, probably.
tomorrow, 29 days from Texas A&M, the charity scrimmage exhibition. 28 days from your next home game in football. And then you're Halloween, and then, you're pretty much at the end of the road. And then you start the basketball season November 5th against somebody, Jackson State or somebody. I don't know. But we'll be talking about it. We'll be with Galen tomorrow night. We're going to have a couple other guests, I think. I got to talk to somebody real quick. Raul, you will not. That is my second least favorite trip. Cincinnati is the worst trip in the conference. Worst trip. Orlando, close second. Not a fan of the Disney World. Not a fan of the whole production. Don't like their arena. Don't like their football stadium. Sorry. But yeah, Star Pizza. These people are so good to us, to Pod Slamma Jamma over there, to U of H athletes. They have U of H specialists in every week. They're just starting to deal with Zion Taylor with women athletes. Star Pizza. Go. I might actually go tomorrow. I got
Great
a little
food.
jonesing. I'm jonesing for a little bit of that.
Great food, better people.
Yes. They just opened a Skyline in Orlando. That sounds absolutely terrible. Great show, guys. And man, that sucks. Here's something. 32nd season as a head coach. He's never gone through a scoreless stretch 2+ games ever. I went back and looked to see when his last shutout was, and I think it was the first or second season at Tulane. He got shut out, and then he came back and scored 40-something points and won a game the next week. So I was thinking that was what was going to happen today. Did not. I think you gave Iowa State everything you could with no offense and no special teams. I mean, it's remarkable that this game was still in doubt in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You have no offense. You have no special teams. It was the defense just keeping you in it. And ridiculously at times, Zy Strong in this end zone, that should never happen. I mean, that guy should never be breaking up passes. But, I mean, I think it hit him in the forearm. He was in there so tight. So that's pretty cool. We'll see you tomorrow night for talking about them Cougars right here on the YouTube channel on GoCoogs.com and the one person on Facebook. Thank you. GoCoogs.com. We have some cool news that probably coming down the pike here pretty soon. A little different for us. I'm excited about it, I think. And we'll have good content and Brad will write stuff this week. Thank you so much for joining us. That's going to be it for us. 1 hour, 39 minutes for no points. Pretty impressive.